Hey, buds. Welcome to the Fantasy Buds podcast. It's your host, Brian Gold.
Marc Letrio.
And I'm Tim Stewart.
And if you want to follow us on social media, you can go to the link tree in the description below and follow us on Threads, TikTok, and Instagram. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the show. This is our new intro. I'm just gonna let it ride. It's just too good.
Still let it run.
Yeah. All right, that's our cue. So, welcome back to the Fantasy Buds podcast. We were a little delayed today because we had a
Little debacle. So, our good host, Marc over here, was late. And we will say if there's one more tardiness, Marc has to drop a fucking player on a team. Doesn't matter who. You got to drop one. But one morning you're going to be like, fuck it. I'll just drop this guy. Yeah, I'm about to do it on purpose just so I can drop Darnell Mooney.
Oh,
But
Lord.
in the midst of Marc trying to get here at a relatively decent time, his tire exploded.
You guys should have seen this thing.
Like it was a literal,
There was no tire
There was
left.
no. I don't
was
understand
gone.
how it was
It
physically
was
possible.
like Grand Theft Auto style.
like he got shot up. And
About to fly off the car.
so because this podcast is like a family, we went out and saved his ass.
Nope.
We drove out there.
Find good friends, people.
Our sound man, Chris, drove us out and we changed the tire for Marc. We taught him very well. You just deserve it, buddy. I mean, that's just how it...
Not being 24 and not knowing how to change a tire.
Yeah.
That wasn't
Don't
even
do
the
that.
worst
That's pretty
part.
sad, guys.
The worst part was that you lifted up the tools that you needed to get to the tire.
And you thought you didn't
told
have
us that you
tools.
didn't have
I was
the
like, I
tools.
don't have the tools. They were literally right in fucking...
So here's some outside fantasy football advice. If you get a car, learn how to change a tire.
Yeah, don't be like me.
And look at the tools that you have so you know
Yeah, make sure you
what
actually
to fucking use.
make sure you actually check and don't just glance over the thing real quick. And then say you
See
don't
the
have
shit
it.
that we do to get this podcast going.
See, like, I mean, come on. You guys better look, especially
Jeez.
Come on. Everybody we know this week, you guys better all be fucking listening. Big B, I'm looking at you. I know you don't listen to this
Big
shit.
Joe.
Big Joe.
Big Joe, you better all be tuning in this week. You should have seen the effort today that went into getting this up and running.
We spent blood and gas and
Tears, sweat,
tires,
Pain.
pain,
No.
suffering.
and time we will never get back.
All thanks
All thanks to Marc's fucking...
to the tire.
But it looked like that was going to fucking happen regardless, so I guess you're welcome.
Yeah.
You would have been stuck out there without
yeah, it was
fantasy buds.
gonna happen eventually, to be honest.
We're basically heroes. But that being said, let's move on to some fantasy football talk and not Marc's automobile. So, unfortunately, this episode is going to be airing after Thursday Night Football, just based on schedule. So, Thursday Night Football, it's going to be Chiefs and Lions. I'm going to pick the Chiefs. They're at home. It's the Chiefs.
I don't really see a way they don't
I don't
win.
see a way. Like, I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
I think it's gonna be a fun game for fantasy football.
So if you're going to be watching this on Saturday, it's going to be funny to look at all these, anything we're saying about this game, and it's going to be completely fucking wrong. But that being said, let's not spend too much time on Thursday Night Football because,
We're not time travelers.
we're not time travelers.
Unfortunately.
However, there are some favorite matchups coming up this weekend. I personally want to talk about the Dolphins and Chargers. There's a lot of good pieces in there. I mean, you got Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Quentin Johnson, and then on the other side, you got Tua, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Raheem Mostert for some poor bastards out there.
Yeah, I mean, look, like Raheem Mostert he'll give you an incredible 3 games.
Yeah, he'll probably break a couple 80-yard touchdowns.
He really will. Like, he'll give you, so just get Raheem Mostert, but make sure you have Devon A-Chain still. And then as soon as Raheem Mostert goes down, boom, Devon A-Chain. To be honest, I'm actually curious to see if they'll use him at all in this game.
I hope Mostert stays healthy. He just hasn't.
No, he's a good player, to be honest. He's one of the fastest players in the NFL.
Yeah, he just hasn't done it.
No, we don't want to predict injuries on here, but
which you just did,
which I just did,
you piece of shit,
because I'm a piece of garbage. But when something is a trend and happening year after year after year, kind of hard to.
It's kind of hard to.
Yeah.
Like this morning, I could have been like, I bet you Mark's tire's gonna fucking pop.
Yeah, I mean, it's technically a 50-50 shot of it happening.
Yeah.
But I mean, when it's like almost every single, it's the same thing with like, we'll talk about this game soon too, but like Elijah Mitchell, like when it's happening year after year.
And multiple times in a year.
Yeah, like it's just kind of not a good look at that point. But this should be a fun game for fantasy as well.
Also, you had you saw a take earlier about Patrick Mahomes, since we just mentioned him not too long ago.
Oh yeah, so let's get this out of the way. So
yeah, let's get this out of the way.
I don't remember the name of this account, but I stumbled across something the other day, and on this one fantasy football account it said, "I hate Patrick Mahomes. He's my quarterback 5 this year. I think he takes a step back. All he has is Kelsey, which was all he had last year.
QB1.
Quarterback 1. And I don't remember exactly what the whole thing said, but the synopsis was basically Mahomes is going to take a step back.
And for what reason?
Mahomes and Kelsey are both going to take step backs because of Kelsey getting older and regressing, which tight end 1 the past how many years? He showed no signs of regressing at all. So,
but it's just like, why?
But what kind of struck me, like what stuck out, was not that they posted this. It was the fact there was no reasoning behind like any of this. It was just like all baseless opinions on like why you shouldn't draft Patrick Mahomes and why he's going to step. Well, actually, no, not why he's going to step back. It's just he's going to step back.
But it's like why you shouldn't invest in Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts and Travis Kelce, and it's just like, why not?
Why not? Yeah. Like, I mean, would you rather get a guy who can score over 400 points or a guy that's probably going to cap out at 250?
Yeah,
270. Like, and so that's almost double the points.
It's basically when you pass up on, the top quarterbacks, like you can go for the Justins, of course, Fields and Herbert, which is fine.
Or, like Joe Burrow, like that's fine.
And Trevor Lawrence, I think they're fine. But for me personally, I feel better as a fantasy player. And I also see teams have more success when they just have the top dog at that position. And like when you have a guy like that at any position, whether it's receiver, tight end, running back, quarterback, if you get just the guy there, you don't have to worry about it like shit the rest of the season. Like if I have Patrick Mahomes, I am more confident each week that I'm going to get a certain amount of points from him. I'm going to be able to score this amount and most likely beat my opponent versus having Geno Smith, who's going to be fine. He'll give you good games, but
his upside is not there.
When you pass on those quarterbacks, it's the Daniel Jones. You're going for Geno Smith. Just your upside only gets so high with those guys. Like, who do you think is going to finish as a quarterback 1 this year? Is it going to be Daniel Jones or Patrick Mahomes?
Like who has the better chance?
Who has the better chance?
I mean,
look, is Patrick Mahomes going to step back from the QB1 last year? Probably, but
maybe.
But people forget. Like, if you said that about Josh Allen the last 3 years, he finished at 1 this year, and there's no way he can finish there again. Well, he did it back-to-back years, and then last year he was the QB2. So it's like, who would you rather have?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like
it's a confidence thing.
And it's like a guy
projections.
Like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, even Joe Burrow. So these guys can give you 40, 50-point games.
Yeah.
I just don't see Geno Smith doing that at all this year. Like I don't see him, and it's like we're not trying to pick on Geno Smith. We like Geno Smith, but for some reason he's the quarterback that always gets brought up the most in these arguments. When I see people say just wait on a quarterback, just go get Geno Smith.
It's like, why?
Go get Aaron Rodgers, and it's like they're fine. They'll be solid. But why not go for that upside? And I want to talk about Kelsey real quick, too, because he threw Kelsey in that post also. And Kelsey's arguably the best tight end of all time. He's a generational talent. He showed no signs of slowing down. 110 receptions last year, 152 targets. He's completely elite. He's their number 1 receiver. He's basically like a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I don't view him as a tight end.
Like, yes, he's older, but it's not like he's fucking 39.
But it's like he showed no signs of he never gets hurt.
Like if you, yeah.
Sorry.
Good job. You're making my.
I had to.
Here they come. Sweet, you summoned them.
I
Nice.
had to. I'm sorry. I picked Kelsey this year.
First, you blow out your fucking tire and make my dogs bark.
I'm on fire today.
You are on fire today.
There's almost a lock for
Hi, Libby.
Yep.
That was just
Here we
girls.
go.
What's up, babies?
almost a lock for double-digit TDs too, and we'll more than likely, I would say, an 85% chance we'll finish as the tight end one this year. So, I mean, like, who do you really want? Do you want Travis Kelce or do you want Evan Ingram? Do you want Travis Kelce or do you want
Jawan Johnson or like
Chigoziem Okonkwo? Like who do you want more? Like
on the way to go pick you up or to go fix your fucking tire. Tim, about
the fuck was that?
I don't know. We're gonna keep moving on. It was just like a beep. That doesn't mean anything, does it?
So nothing blew up.
All right, we'll just keep going.
But yeah, you were having the same problem, Tim. You're like, should I play Luke Musgrove or should I play Jawan Johnson? And I'm thinking like,
Musgrave.
wouldn't be, is it Musgrove or Musgrave? Who gives a fuck? Like he's a rookie.
Rookie tight end.
Prove your worth it. But yeah, and I'm just thinking like as he's rattling off these names, I'm thinking you don't have that problem if you have Kelce.
Yeah.
Or if you have Mark Andrews.
because,
And I'm
like-
not saying you should always aim for those guys every single fucking time in all your drafts, but I think more often than not, you're okay, lose. Yeah, I think more often than not, you're better with those players.
I think so. And Kels, like, I mean, you have some of these guys, like even some of these guys that are going to go a little earlier, like Hawkinson, Andrew, they're going to give you points games where they have like 7 points.
Yeah.
6. I don't think Kelsey's ever going to do that. I think he's too much of a target hog. There's no real threat there besides he only had 2 single-digit point games last year out of the whole season. I think it's pretty damn impressive, especially for a tight end. I mean, he's the number 1 receiving option on the best offense in football. I don't know how that's a bad, like I hate when I see people say that's a bad first round pick.
Yeah,
To be honest.
that's just our belief here as a. And we are back from technical fucking difficulties.
Oh my God.
This day just gets worse and worse. I guess that's what you get for doing a fucking podcast on Labor Day, but we are dedicated to this fucking thing. So anyway, let's get back into the fucking matchups like we were supposed to be doing. Let's talk about the Bills versus Jets. A lot of good fantasy pieces. Josh Allen versus Aaron Rodgers, Stephon Diggs versus Garrett Wilson. I'm curious to see how they're going to utilize James Cook.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm the most excited about.
Mark thinks James Cook is going to finish top 5.
That said, I think he could.
I think he could.
I think
The offense will be top 5 for
being
sure.
realistic, I really do truly believe he will finish in the top 10. And I mean, even if that's 10, I mean, he still will finish in the top 10.
That will smash his ADP.
Yes, and I still think he's the biggest deal in fantasy football right now. But I mean, I really do see a world where he could finish in the top 5. Top 5 offense, top 5 quarterback. I think maybe Josh Allen starts running a little bit less this season.
Really?
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
Like for the first time ever.
none of these guys can keep rushing this way their whole career, in my opinion.
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy. And like, sure, maybe Josh Allen's amazing at it, and he's not going to stop completely, and he's still going to get his goal line. And I do think Latavius Murray and Damian Harris will get some goal line, but I think James Cook's going to get enough work receiving, especially. I think the receiving is really what's going to put him over the top.
I see him having like 1,300 total scrimmage yards and like 60 receptions.
Yeah.
Like he's going to be a value in PPR.
I still think he's the biggest steal in drafts right now. I mean, like the 6th to 8th round, I think he's going to play like probably 60% of the snaps. I really don't see Damian Harris and Latavius Murray being any factor except inside the 5. Maybe in short yardage situations, they come in the game, but
Absolutely.
that's really the best thing. But no, I'm curious to see how they'll use him. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe we end up being right, but we'll have to see what happens.
And I'm curious to see if the Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers connection is going to be a fluke or it's going to be nice and sexy like it looks like in the preseason right now.
Yeah, will it live up to the hype?
Will it? I think so. I think Rodgers is more motivated this year. I think I think Green Bay for him was kind of like a job, like a 9-to-5 job, and he was just
Going through the motions.
going through the motions. He was kind of fucking over it. He was actually showing up to training camp this year for
He
the
looks
Jets.
happy.
He looks happier. He looks like a fresh, like renewed, like a change of scenery is always good for people. So
They
I
also
think
have a very good offense.
good
in
offense.
total.
I mean, I think Dalvin Cook and Brees Hall is going to be good for football, bad for fantasy.
Yeah,
I
how
think-
will they get used? Like, are they going to be 50-50? Is it not going to be? I personally think it'll start out like a 65-35 for Cook in favor of Cook.
Honestly, I think
while
it's
Hall
going to
gets healthy.
Yeah.
But what do you do?
No, I'm just fucking with him.
I think it's for me. It's going to be a fucking coin flip.
How much did they sign him for again?
Cook,
Yeah,
I think it
Cook's
was like
like $8 million,
$8 million
right?
for 1 year,
yeah,
right?
for 1 year. That's all running backs are getting now. 1 year.
But that's the thing. I think Cook is still good, and he still has some left in the tank. Like, I don't think he's just some bum.
Well, that's
gonna
the thing. They have Hall. They wouldn't have brought him in.
I think if Hall was 100%, Cook's never going
I
to.
really think they're just going to use
know.
both and just be a lethal offense. And it's not,
They
they're not
could
going to.
be.
They're going to be one of those teams where they don't give a fuck about your fantasy
They
team.
have Aaron Rodgers now, and I guarantee you all they do now is nothing but split gun. Because
To be
they
hon-
like
yeah.
to do it in Green Bay with Dylan and
They
Mm.
could.
with Aaron Jones, and now you have two running backs that can receive the ball instead of just one. Because AJ Dillon couldn't catch a cold,
He can't.
so
No.
I'm not gonna lie. I've kind of been avoiding this backfield.
I have been
it's
all
just
completely.
a
summer.
headache.
The passing offense I am not ignoring at all, but they will. But honestly, the backfield I'm ignoring.
The running back, it's just a headache.
You know what offense I've been ignoring, and that's the Packers offense. Packers versus Bears. I think that's one of the most, to me, the most curious matchup.
It's such a coin flip for the Packers.
It's
Aaron
like-
Jones, like 60 yards and 3 touchdowns.
You got all these pieces, these young pieces, and they're all unknown, and you have no idea how it's going to pan out.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
and
saying. It's gonna be the Aaron Jones show.
that's why I kind of am so high on Aaron
It's-
Jones this year, because I think he's kind of going to have to be the centerpiece of
Yeah.
the offense. Like, if they want to do anything,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I don't think they're going in there. Like, I mean they still got Matt LaFleur. Like, they're not going to try to be losing games. And I mean, Jordan Love's been sitting for a couple of years now. It's not like he's a rookie,
There.
and he has been sitting behind Rodgers. So
Yeah, but
you
I
never
don't
know. I mean, it could end up being better than people think.
Well, I think, like Brian said, I think
It's
it's going to
unproven.
be for the first like 3 or 4 games. Matt LaFleur is going to try to be cute with the 2 running backs, and
He
then when
could.
he realizes that AJ Dillon is ass, and he realizes that Aaron Jones is talent wise a top 7
Mm-hmm.
running back in the NFL, I think finally he'll snap into it and go, oh, "Okay, we should probably use our top weapon that we have right now on offense."
you know,
'Cause who else do they have?
I just
2
think
unproven wide receivers, a rookie tight end.
It's
You don't even know
mostly
if
all
your you don't even know if your quarterback can do it.
yeah.
right. It's-
Like at this
mostly
point, the
all
only dude on that team on that offense who is proven is Aaron Jones.
And to be honest, though, I don't think Green Bay is a bad enough team in total to where they'll be getting blown out often. So I do like Aaron Jones, but it's not about Aaron Jones. It's about the game. I am curious about their offense, especially who's going to step up and be their number one. I think
I
Aaron
don't-
Jones will be.
I don't think Jordan Love
But-
is going to pan out because
He might not.
I just have a feeling like, are you really going to you're going to fall into a third straight Hall of Fame quarterback? Brett Favre to Rodgers.
It's very
to Love?
unlikely.
Like, is it really, are they going to do it all again with Jordan Love?
But I mean, like, you never know though. He could be like a
could.
mid-game manager, and even that is fine if you have some of his weapons. Like
And-
you could have a game. You could have a receiver that's playing with a game manager.
Yeah, but
I mean, I don't.
That's the problem though for the Packers. For them to be successful, they can't have Kirk Cousins a quarterback. They can't have a guy who plays like Kirk Cousins at quarterback with that young of an offense
Well, they've been
to
carried
be
by
able to go
Rodgers.
far.
That's true. They haven't. Been, so
That's
for
what I'm
this
saying.
long.
Like,
And which receiver is going to emerge? Everybody's drafting like it's going to be Christian Watson. A lot of buzz that came out of camp was that it's Romeo Dobbs is his favorite target, and he was pretty good last year for a 4th-round rookie too. But never know; it could all be
Yeah.
smoke.
And it could be the same situation as the Chiefs where you're just kind of guessing who's going to
gonna
be
go
the
off
wide
every
receiver
week.
one this week.
And I really do think it's going to be a lot of Aaron Jones. I really do believe that. But
Musgrove just turns into the next Travis Kelce.
imagine that.
It's just,
But
I'll bet shitting in my hands and clapping that
it's
doesn't
not
happen.
gonna
Yeah.
happen. I know it's not. Gonna
I
happen.
don't think he'll have more than
But
one reception in
On
that
the
game.
flip side of
What about the Bears?
The
offense?
Bears.
I think this is a very curious
But-
offense this year.
for me, well, it's DJ Moore and Justin Fields. Outside of that, it's like somebody step up.
To be honest, is,
Darnell Mooney hasn't really showed me much.
well,
I
is
think the Bears are overhyped.
a little bit,
I
but I
think
do
they're
think
extremely
Fields-
Fields.
overhyped. And I think when they go out there and they go against the Packers defense, they're going to get exposed week 1.
I still think the Bears are going to be the worst team in the division
I agree.
this year.
I think that everybody is
Yeah.
putting way too much stock into Justin Fields this early. And his number 1 receiver is a brand new wide receiver. Everybody, all because of the screenplay that they had in preseason, everybody was like, well, that's it, slamming it. And that was
Yeah.
it.
Now,
Like-
will this be a better offense than it was last year?
Well, I think
I
it's
don't
just going to be DJ Moore getting a
Peppered.
peppered, and then it's going to be Justin Fields breaking off long touchdowns. Like,
I mean, like, and plus, is Justin Fields going to take that next step as a passer too? And I
I
think
think he will do enough. I don't think like some of these teams are picking the Bears to have an Eagles type jump like when they had with
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, and I just don't see that. I think they're going to be good for fantasy.
yeah, it'll be a fun fantasy offense. It'll be like the old Detroit Lions offense, where like they'd be bad every year, but you want to have
But
somebody.
I'm just not sold on Fields yet, dude.
Yeah, and
Like, I'm
I
just
think
not
that's
there
fair.
yet.
As a fantasy quarterback, I'm pretty sold just because of the rushing.
Yeah.
And I think
he'll-
if you're sold on Fields, you got to be sold on Moore. And I think,
it's got to be both ways.
but I don't. I guess it's just one we're going to have to pay attention to.
Yeah, I want to see how much DJ Moore, like how DJ Moore gets
That's
used.
why this matchup's very curious for me because it's a lot of unknown, and this could be a game that's 13 to 10, or it could be
Fantasy-wise,
36-35.
Like fantasy wise, I don't even know, depending upon what your wide receivers look like, I don't even know if I would start DJ Moore this week. Truthfully.
Really?
Wow,
I seriously
That's
think
pretty zesty.
Jair Alexander is going to lock his ass down.
it's pretty zesty.
And I have a feeling now, if you have Justin Fields, I would absolutely start Justin Fields because it's just going to be a lot of him running. Because I seriously think
It's interesting.
Jair Alexander now goes up against, or DJ Moore has to face Jair Alexander 2 times a year now. It's going to be the hardest corner he's really had to face because the corners they had in that division, besides Marshawn Lattimore when he was on Carolina, there's really no other corner. Well, no, because Jair Alexander is better than Marshawn Lattimore. So really, technically speaking, I do not see, unless somehow he breaks off like an 80-yard touchdown, I don't see DJ Moore doing anything this week. It's a new offense.
I personally, I see him doing something because just PPR wise, I don't think he's going to need a long bomb. I think he'll get like 10 targets. And
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't
that
think
could
he's
be.
gonna get
I'm sure
peppered.
now that I said what I just said, he'll have 15 receptions
I
for
really hope
1,500
so.
yards and 20
I hope
touchdowns
so.
in one game. So.
I hope so. But
I really do think he's going to get peppered. I think the talent's always been there for him. I think he's never played with anybody, to be honest. And is Justin Fields that much of an upgrade? Maybe not yet with the arm, but never he could be. Maybe he does take that next step as a passer, and DJ Moore is the biggest steal in your draft.
It's like Brian said, that there's just too many question marks on the offense.
There's a lot of questions. And to be honest, even like the backfield,
their
who's going
starting
to
running
step
back?
up? I personally like Khalil Herbert, but who's going to
Yeah.
step up? Like I'm still hearing about Roshan Johnson. I haven't heard shit about Roshan Johnson this whole summer.
And they paid what's
Pretty
his
much.
name too?
They
Donta
paid
Foreman.
Donta Foreman.
Donta Foreman.
Like, how's that going to look? Who's going to end up
Very,
being the
very
running back to
interesting.
have there?
basically what I'm gathering from this is that whole division besides Minnesota is a shit show.
not a shit show. I wouldn't. Shit show.
I think it'll be a dogfight a little bit.
It's just so much unknown. Like it's the one division where it's like
It's a lot unknown.
like the AFC South, it's the Jags and everybody's gonna be fucking terrible. It's there's gonna be no surprises
Pretty
there.
much, yeah.
With the NFC East, it's Commanders in the basement, and then it's gonna be a
Competitive the rest of
three-way
the
race
way.
with the Giants, Cowboys, and Eagles. But with the NFC North,
It's the Vikings and then who?
yeah. And I don't even think the Vikings could run away with it either.
I don't think they will run away with
There
it.
could be a lot of
I actually think they shock people.
Do you think they'll run away with it?
I actually have them going the furthest. I have them making the NFC Championship this year.
where really.
Yes.
Do you think they'll win more
It's-
than 12 games?
It's going to come down
Clip
to
that.
it's going to come down to their defense, and I know that their defense did take a hit.
They did lose a couple
They
guys.
lost a couple guys, but at the end of the day, when you have a lot of playmakers on offense, and this is going to get taken out of context by multiple people, so I'm going to speak very, very clearly before I say this. Look at Kansas City. Their defense is mid,
It's not great.
but because they have Pat Mahomes
Defense is good enough.
and they have those star players on offense, they're always in competition. No, I am not saying Kirk Cousins is Pat Mahomes, but I'm saying they have a quarterback that is good.
yeah, Kirk Cousins gets too much shit,
They
I
have
think.
the best wide receiver in the league, and they have a top 3 tight end.
Well, I
Their
think
Great
O-line
offensive
isn't bad.
line. It's actually a great
They have
offensive
a great
line.
offensive line. They have a great tight end. Alexander Madison's going to prove himself this year.
I mean, the Jordan
It's
Addison
going
is
to
a
come down
first-round
to their
rookie.
defense. And I seriously think that if Kirk Cousins can play like he did last year, I could see them making the NFC Championship. Do I think they go to the Super Bowl? Absolutely the fuck not. But I can see them going to the NFC Championship as like their ceiling.
They win a division. They get a home game in the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying. And that's always, and
'Cause Kirk
who
Cousins
knows,
is the best
if the Eagles take a
quarterback
step
in the-
back, if the Eagles take a step back, Minnesota can get the first round bye.
Which, to be honest, the
And
Eagles.
then what happens? You
Look,
win one game and then you're in the NFC Championship.
To be honest, as an Eagles fan, it's going to be much harder for them this year. I think that their division is only getting better.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be way scrap. I don't think the Eagles win 13, 14 games again.
I think they
Like,
win
I still think
11, 12.
I still think they will win the division, but I think that the division is going to be very competitive, and I think that the NFC will be much more competitive this season. And Eagles have a much harder schedule this year.
I mean, the
than
championship,
they had last year.
the NFC Championship, you got to figure it's going to be one of three teams. It's either going to be the Eagles, the Niners, or the Vikings. Dak can't get past the wild card round to save his life.
No.
So even if they make the playoffs, it's we them boys until he gets blown out by a backup quarterback week 1. So you don't even got to worry
We
about the
them
Cowboys.
boys.
Like, they're going to be useless anyway. That's why, for me, it's like, what other team besides the Eagles and the Niners can make it? And I'm
Sure, it could be the
sorry,
Vikings.
I'm not sold on the Niners because I have no idea how Brock Purdy's going to play.
Fair enough.
That is fair.
Kirk Cousins is a proven
All right.
quarterback. He's an above-average quarterback. You know what you're getting with Kirk Cousins.
I think Kirk Cousins is very good.
That's what I'm saying.
To be honest,
you know what you're
Like,
getting. You're going to get 26 touchdowns, 6 to 7 interceptions, and you're going to make playoffs.
Kirk Cousins throws almost 5,000 yards.
That's what I'm saying.
And almost 30 touchdowns
Barring
every year.
injury-
Nobody really cares.
Barring
Like, to-
injury, I think the Vikings are the most set to make it further because the Packers aren't going to do anything. The Lions, well, you do got to worry about the Lions, but that's another thing too, to where if they can put it together. And the Bears, like, if the if the Detroit Lions are the number one thing between you and winning the division, I like those odds.
I mean, yeah.
Honestly, that was very convincing, Tim.
And that's what I'm
Tim's got a
saying.
good argument for
That's
this.
what I'm saying.
We'll have
Like
to keep an eye on this.
they have the easiest path to get there.
We'll have to keep an eye on this.
The Eagles had to face the Giants, who I guess they must know something about Daniel Jones, seeing as how they paid him. Their defense got better.
I mean,
They
like,
added Darren Waller.
Brian Dable had Daniel Jones playing
That's
They
what
got a
I'm
great
saying.
coaching staff there in New York.
way in over his head last
Unfortunately.
season.
Dallas is going to be annoying because they're always annoying because they're a good team, but they can never
will be
do
a good-
anything.
Dallas's defense is amazing.
Yeah,
That-
Parsons is going to
That's going to be their
blitzkrieg everybody's O-line, and then Pick Boy will get his interceptions like normal.
big boy.
That's why I'm saying, for me, the Vikings have the easiest route.
Okay.
Now, if
All right.
Brock Purdy turns out to be a good quarterback, forget everything I just said. The Niners are probably going to the Super Bowl because they lost no one on defense. Unless I don't know if Nick Bosa is still holding out or not.
I'm willing to bet against Brock Purdy.
That's what I'm saying.
7 games from a fucking.
That's
from
what
the
I'm saying. He's
Mr.
not
Irrelevant.
proven.
Like,
Kirk Cousins, to me, the Vikings are the most set to where it's like, okay, you have Justin Jefferson, you have TJ Hawkinson,
Vikings
you have all the pieces that you need.
Vikings play Tampa Bay week 1.
That's what I'm saying.
I think
too.
that's a
And
pretty
that's-
interesting game.
I think
Yeah.
that's a win for them
Probably will be a win.
because
yeah.
the Buccaneers lost Ryan Jensen again
It sucks. His career is probably over.
I know.
It's really sad.
It is sad.
because he was like
Good.
great.
Yeah.
Well, when he was playing, and Baker Mayfield,
Yeah, he stinks.
whatever, dude.
An absolute hitman of offenses.
Yeah,
He
assassinating your
assassinates
receivers.
Whatever offense he plays on. But yeah, so like the Vikings, we'll have to look out for the Vikings. Tim's all in
We
on the
will.
Vikings.
I am all in on the Vikings.
So I know we said we didn't want to spend. We wanted to get into the prop bets. There's just one more game I really wanted to go over.
And what's that?
I'm pretty curious about Denver this season with Sean Payton.
I'm just
Broncos country, let's ride.
I'm pretty curious about Denver against the Raiders. To be honest, I want to see if Josh Jacobs was a fluke last season. I want to see if he ends up being a trap player. How Jimmy Garoppolo is going to look outside of Kyle Shanahan's system on a new team. How is Devontae Adams going to do with his 17th quarterback? It feels like in the past 3-4 seasons. And also even more with Denver. I mean, like, how much is Javonte Williams going to play? How much of a split is this going to be? I mean, Samaje Perine has never had a significant workload in his career. He's been in the league a while. He's never been more than a third down back. So I think Javonte Williams is still going to end up being the guy to have there. And he'll end up being a value.
Now that fucking Melvin Gordon's gone,
Oh, thank God. Fuck
Thank
Melvin
God.
Gordon. But And it's a thing, like, is Cortland Sutton capped? We're done with him.
I'm
but I
done
mean,
with him.
but I
I'd
mean,
rather
like,
be wrong
is
about him.
is Russell Wilson? Is he done, or
I think it's a resurgence year.
does he have a resurgence
I think
year?
Sean Payton was the best thing that could have happened to that offense.
Yeah, and it's like,
And
how are they going to
off
look?
of Javonte Williams, I think it's going to be he's going to try to mimic what he did in New Orleans with Kamara and Mark Ingram.
Maybe Marvin Mims ends up getting used a lot with
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy more than likely not playing. So I mean, I'm actually pretty curious. I know it's not a fun name on paper, but when I get into it, like the main thing I want to know is how much is Javonte Williams going to play? They said they're going to ease him into the season, but like I said,
Yeah.
Samaje Perine has never been more than a third down back, and he's 27 now. It's not like this is some super young guy. This guy's been in the league for a while.
Well, he's obviously not the starter, but
No.
and they let go of Melvin Gordon. I'm curious about the offense, but I'm fine watching it from a distance. I'd rather
Yes.
not be invested in
Yeah,
that.
It's fair.
it's safer to be watching it from a distance.
I did invest in Javonte Williams in a couple places this year because I thought he was a big value.
Yeah.
So I am curious to see how he's going to get.
I have to be invested because I have him in Dynasty, but that's the thing. Denver, after what happened last year,
It's
I'd
hard.
rather. It's hard
It's hard to get
investing
the- yeah.
multiple leagues in one. You know, there's a saying: don't put all your eggs in one basket. And
It's a giant question mark.
it's
but
the same thing. Like last year when I had Cooper Kupp and I had him in 3 leagues, and then he went down, and 3 of my leagues suffered. That's why, like this year in particular, I like
Space it out.
I like having different players in different places because there's value across the league. And if you're burned by one guy and you have so much exposure and investment in that guy, it's like your season goes down.
Oh, Denver also just traded Albert Okwuegbunam to the Eagles. So
Who gives a shit?
is like Dulcich going to do anything? I remember
was
you
hearing
saying that
Adam
you like
Troutman.
Dulcich,
I
but
do, but I
you
was
never
hearing-
know.
I was hearing Troutman was
I was gonna say,
getting reps over Dolce.
maybe it ends up being Troutman. Like, who ends up being their tight end? Because maybe that ends up being a waiver darling. You never
Yeah.
know. Like, I mean,
I don't know. It's just after seeing how horrible Wilson was,
it's true. It's
hard
very
to see him. Like maybe he gets better than that, but what's his new ceiling now?
See, here's the thing, though. I can't really blame it all on Wilson. Looking back,
Yeah, Hackett did.
Nathaniel Hackett fucking sucks.
It was horrible.
like,
but
just
Wilson did not help.
And
at all.
I don't even think they gave him range to call audibles. I don't even know if they gave him, because I know
don't
Hackett
know.
isn't giving Rodgers the authority to do that in New York.
No.
He already came out and said that Aaron Rodgers is not allowed to play call. So who knows? I think Sean Payton is actually really going to help Russell Wilson this year. Now, I don't think he's going to snap and go like 30-6, but I could see him going back to like close to prime Russell Wilson, like maybe 25 and like 8.
Definitely something we should keep an eye on
Yeah.
for sure.
100%.
So why don't we get into the season props? Who do we want to bet on to lead the league in passing yards this year?
you know,
All right, can we all just take an agreement to leave Pat Mahomes out of this?
I wasn't
Can we
going to say
pick
him.
somebody other than him?
I wasn't going to pick him.
I wasn't going
cool.
to pick him
Okay.
either.
Sweet.
I'm
You
going
guys are
to
going to love
You guys
my
can go
answer.
first.
I'm going to stake my first claim, and that's going to be Justin Herbert.
I'm going to say Joe Burrow this year does. I think that the amount of weapons is just ridiculous.
Joe Burrow for Mark.
I think that he's a lock for 4,500 yards.
I could agree with that.
As long as he doesn't get hurt.
Tim, are you going with Joe Burrow also?
I'm not.
Who you going with?
Rodgers.
I knew you were going to say
I had
knew
to
you were gonna say
feel
that.
it in my fucking
Yep.
bones.
All right.
For
I
me,
mean,
it was
that's
either
pretty
Aaron
bold.
Rodgers and Justin Herbert, but because you went with Herbert, I'm going to go with Rodgers.
That's
that way we
pretty
all have
bold.
something different.
That's, but not incredibly bold.
No, I mean,
So, who are we going to bet on for passing touchdowns?
I think
I'm gonna
Patrick
go with-
Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, but I think so.
Mahomes for Mark. Tim, what are you thinking?
I'm actually going to go Joe Burrow.
You're going to go Joe Burrow for that one?
I think Joe Burrow snaps this year.
They very well could.
He has too many weapons.
And I'm going to go with Josh Allen.
I think that's
Really?
fair also.
I think that's fair too.
I think they're all fair answers.
Think
I mean, he's
fair.
always been around 35, but there's a chance he could get to
No.
They think this is the year he gets to 40.
like passing. Well, if Cook takes that step and steps into that role, then I can see Josh Allen making that.
Yeah.
Now,
leading the league in receiving yards.
Oh, good golly. I wonder who this is going to be.
You guys want to go first? Who are you thinking?
Do I even have to say it?
Jefferson?
Yes.
Okay. Let's
make this fun. I'm going to
All right,
say
we're
Jamar
not-
Chase.
All right, we're going to switch. All right, I won't go Jefferson then. I'll change it.
No, you can go Jefferson.
Nah, it's too easy. Like, it's...
I mean, like, he might,
It's too
though.
easy. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to go all in with it.
So Jefferson?
Nope.
Wait, who was it?
Garrett Wilson. Fuck it.
You know what? That's
Wow.
spicy.
Fuck it. We'll send it.
Spicy, but
Send it.
I'm writing all this shit down.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Mark?
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase?
I think if I believe in Joe Burrow leading the league in passing, then I think Jamar Chase will more than likely lead the league in receiving when it's all said and done.
This is good.
This is barring injury, by the way.
Who's
Barring
Brian?
injury.
A.J. Brown.
No. Tyreek Hill.
Okay. That's interesting. I
That's
mean,
fair.
like, that's fine.
Yeah,
I mean, he just
I
had
mean-
his best year last year.
He could do it. I mean, he's the fastest player in the league.
Yeah.
Now, receiving touchdowns.
Wow. Wow.
I'm going to say Stephon Diggs.
Interesting. He had a career high last year in touchdowns.
This is...
Because like I want to give a really, really spicy answer. But I think it might be a little too spicy to where like I really don't even believe it.
Mark, you go first.
Receiving
Because I actually got to
touchdowns.
think about this.
You know what? I'm gonna say Travis Kelce.
Fuck.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Does.
I'm going to say the same thing. That's what I was thinking of.
I
Both you, Kelsey?
Yeah.
I think Travis Kelce, I think there's a lot of unproven weapons there in Kansas City. And he's still going to be the main Reds. I could see 15 touchdowns this year. And I think that could be enough to lead the league in receiving touchdowns.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to fucking lock that in.
Yeah,
I'm going to lock
I'm
in
gonna-
Travis Kelce.
I'm going to, so for receptions,
Ooh.
I'm going to go Devonta Smith.
Okay, I was going to say him. So you took mine. He's actually one of my prop bets. I had an over-under for him.
He was top 10 last year, and he had
also-
100 receptions.
He also he's steadily gotten better both of his years also, which you want to see. So, I mean, I could see him overtaking A.J. Brown this year. And that's not a knock on A.J. Brown at all.
I think the Eagles have 2 wide receiver ones.
I really think they do. Receptions. This is tough too.
I mean, you got
It's really difficult
every
for me.
receiver in the league you could choose from.
Man.
You could really pick anybody. I'm gonna go Justin Jefferson. Again, I mean, duh. Like I don't want to get too cute.
Tim's
with this
about to
one.
be like, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Because like my spicy one was
You know what's funny? I was actually thinking about him.
my
Fucking do it.
my spicy one was Devontae Smith, and he didn't. You took him, so I'm gonna play it safe and go Justin Jefferson here. I mean, basically 200 targets last year. I think it'll be around the same.
Okay, Mark's locking in Justin Jefferson.
I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson.
Okay, receptions and touchdowns.
I think that, no, receptions and yards.
Yards.
and
Which is
yards, which I mean is
so
doable.
that's a Justin Jefferson type season.
Which I mean he
I
could
really
make that
think
jump.
that Aaron Rodgers is just going to pepper the absolute shit out of him.
I mean, look, to be honest, Garrett Wilson last season 1,100 yards, but only 4 touchdowns.
I mean,
if
dude,
he
we
has
saw
8 touchdowns, that's a wide receiver
We
one
saw
season
how much
as a
Aaron
rookie.
Rodgers trusts Garrett Wilson in
Yeah.
preseason when the dude was literally draped over him and he still said, fuck it, and throw it to him anyway, and he caught it. Like,
That is fair.
that's, I don't know, man. I'm just very high on Wilson this year.
Garrett Wilson,
I'm very high.
I agree with you, Tim. Garrett Wilson will be a first-round pick next year.
Yeah, I'm
fantasy.
Aaron Rodgers
believe
is the
that.
best
I
thing that
think
could have
he will.
happened to him, fantasy-wise.
That's if Rodgers doesn't retire
Yeah.
this year
Yeah, that's
for
also
some
true.
reason. But I don't think so. I think he's got new life in him. So why don't we move on to carries? Rushing attempts.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first, and I think the person I'm going to say is going to shock the hell out of you guys. James Conner.
Okay,
Okay.
that's interesting.
Who do they have at Arizona?
I was gonna
dude?
say like it's nobody else there.
Who else is there, man? Like,
I mean, I can honestly. That's a good sleeper
and
pick
Kyler,
for
Murray,
that.
and Kyler Murray's out for
That's less rushing from the quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. They're starting a rookie quarterback. There's no other running back.
Okay, Tim with some fucking
Tim's on fire
Chef Tim.
today. But I'm gonna go Josh Jacobs. Well, I think if I'm not mistaken, he led the league in carries last season, and I think the Raiders, the only guy behind him is Zamir White.
Yeah.
He's shown us nothing. They didn't really draft anybody. The offensive line's good enough. I think they're gonna have no problem running him into the ground this season.
Here goes Brian. Derrick Henry.
No, Nick Chubb.
Could see that also.
That's a solid one.
It's another one I think they'll just have no problem running him into the ground.
And the second to last one, rushing yards. Who's getting the crown this year?
Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb?
Yep.
Okay. Chubb for Tim. Mark, any thoughts?
Oof. The leader in rushing yards this season. Damn, I was going to say Nick Chubb, but
Just say Saquon Barkley for the love of
I
God.
don't want to get cute with that. I really don't think it'll be Saquon.
Well, for me, it's only 3 people.
Can you go first, Brian?
Tony Pollard.
Wow. I think that's pretty bold.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
See it, Tim.
You're going to love my rushing touchdown one, too.
You know what? This is a player. This is a player I've been changing my mind on a little bit recently. I've been coming around a little bit. I'm going to say Bijan.
Okay.
You seriously think it's going to be Tony Pollard?
He's out of the shot.
Well, all right. Dude, because he's going to jump up, barring injury, he's going to jump up to 60 to 65% of snaps. He was playing less than 60, had over 1,000 yards
last year.
He had 1,300 scrimmage yards. It's Dallas's offensive line. You got Dak Pickscott over there.
Pickscott. That's so
Pickscott. So, like,
Fuck.
maybe I would say it's spicy, but he's also a guy that can rip off an 80-yarder. He did it multiple times. He multiple long touchdowns last year.
What was this for, yards?
Yeah, just
Yes.
yards. Just yardage.
No.
I could see it.
Over
could see
Derrick Henry.
I would put a bet on Derrick Henry, but that's too easy.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not trying to get. I will admit I am trying to get a little cute with some of these.
Yeah.
Come on, like I mean, like how fun is it if we just sit here and we're like Derrick Henry is gonna lead
Patrick Mahomes,
Christian
Derrick
McCaffrey
Henry,
is
Christian
gonna have them like awesome, like real fun.
This is why I
on this
can't.
show.
Somebody could have bet Josh Jacobs last year, and you would have probably walked off the set.
We would have laughed.
This is why I
Last
can't
season.
say that with Pollard, though, because it's his first year as the lead back, and the 3 teams he has to face, their front 7 is stacked.
That's fair.
You can't run against the Eagles, basically. I mean, they shut down Jonathan Taylor. Well, actually, they didn't shut down Jonathan Taylor. It was the one game Taylor actually did something. It's every D-line in that division is stacked.
That is fair.
That's why, for me, I can't get behind it.
That's a fair argument, but
All right, so what about rushing touchdowns? Because you said you have a really spicy one, and I think I know who it is.
I'm going to go with Alexander Madison.
Yeah, I had a
that's
feeling.
actually, that's...
Brian is walking the walk with Alexander Madison.
My sweetheart.
Tim, do you have somebody in mind off the top of your head?
We should put money on this. Probably not. I'll probably burn it.
Actually, between 2 people.
You want me to go first? I have mine.
Yes.
So I'm gonna say Saquon Barkley does this year,
Doesn't help me at all.
And the reason why I believe that is because Saquon, it's kind of a similar situation to Josh Jacobs, and I almost picked Saquon as my rushing attempts leader. But he only had 10 touchdowns last year, and if you watch the Giants at all, you know he could have had way more. And I think this will be the best offense that the Giants have probably had while Saquon has been on the roster, at least since his rookie year where he was the RB1. So look, I get Saquon wasn't totally efficient last year, but again, they're going to have no problem running him into the ground. They brought him back on a 1-year deal. They're not going to invest in him long term. And this is technically another prove-it year for Saquon. I mean, he proved us all wrong last year. I'm not denying that he can do it again.
I think that's a good bet, Mark. And Tim?
for the final prop of this?
I want to say Derrick Henry, but that's too easy. So I'm going to revert back to one of my earlier picks. I'm going to go James Conner.
Okay.
Damn, the Cardinals would have to be a better offense than we expect.
I
Dog shit.
just think once they get inside the 10, it's going to be nothing but James Conner.
Well, and that's
They're not going to
kinda-
be passing it.
That's why I think
and
it's just
that's kind of the argument I have for Saquon. It's like, he's never going to come off the field.
Yeah.
I don't really think James Conner is going to come off the field much.
I truly think it's
this
going to wind up
season.
being Derrick Henry, but like the sky's blue. I don't feel
Sky's
comfortable
blue.
saying that. Like,
Well, all right then. I'm going to post these to our socials so everybody can see how fucking stupid we are. And our fans or listeners or the 7 people can vote on who's going to come out on top on these.
I actually think you might have gave me a hematoma with that fucking Tony Pollard thing.
Dude, it's not. I don't think it's fucking crazy.
I don't think it's that crazy.
Like to me, I think the Madison bet is probably more crazy than the Pollard.
I
one.
think it is too, to be honest.
You don't think so? Yeah.
I just don't get it. Hey, man.
Hey, we'll see.
Do you?
Hey, we'll see, man. We will see. And we will see you guys next week after week 1 commences.
Yeah.
And
Good luck,
we will get
everyone.
into that. Good luck, everybody. Hopefully we come out with some wins this week. Fancy Buds out.
Back to hating our lives.
Yep.